We're all excited to share some really great insights with you guys today. And so with that said, I'm going to hand it over to Bill and Ken to kick things off. And thanks again for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate everyone being here. We were talking about the future of billing. I'm going to just do a little setup and introduction here. Really excited to be teaming up with Hercules AI. You put all these pieces together, it makes a really big impact on the billing process in your firm. I'm not going to do this too many times because I don't want to give anybody a seizure by flipping back and forth here. Let's talk about how we look at this, which is really a cash flow relay of the steps of the billing process. And so you think about the traditional pieces that we've all tackled for a long time, and starting with tracking time, which nobody enjoys doing. So imagine having something that helps you do that, and the end result is that you track a whole lot more time. Then you go to the pre-bill stage. Nobody likes editing pre-bills. What if you can make that twice as fast? Then, of course, we need to actually finalize those bills. And then get to the last stage of invoices to cash. It's an area that I particularly like because it's the stage where you get paid. And the end result of that is by making it easier to deliver bills, follow up with clients, make it easier for clients to pay, we can reduce lockup, we can increase the collected realization rate. When you tie all of these end results together, you're talking about a pretty dramatic impact on your overall billing process. So why are we going after this? Well, it's problems that everybody here this afternoon is dealing with day in and day out. So accounts receivable keeps going up, work in process keeps going up. And the traditional way to solve that problem is to add more staff. And on a pure ROI basis, that actually makes sense. You add another collections person, you get direct results from that. But there's a limit to just how many times you can press that button. And it's really what the plan is for the future, which is to add more staff. We're here to make the argument that there is better technology that can be applied to this. And with an improvement in workflows and process, we can make the existing staff in your firm more productive and more strategic by getting out of just the sort of the day-to-day drudgery that happens during the billing process. So let's start with the beginning with time entry and what Hercules does. We have two Johns with us. We just call them the J's because it's easier to keep track of that way. So if one of the J's would please take over and dive in, that would be awesome.
Great. Thank you, Bill. The other John is just getting the screen. There we go. Yeah, thanks, Bill, and thanks, Sarah and Ken, for giving us this opportunity to present today with the NQ ZebraWorks team. We're pretty excited. I think Bill kicked it off pretty nicely. But we're excited to speak to you today. We think that the value associated with this combined set of solutions is going to be very interesting, and I hope we spend the healthy part of the next 45 minutes or so walking through that. Just as an introduction, Sarah had walked through it at the beginning. My name's John Callahan. I'm with Hercules AI. I'm here with my colleague today, John Ott. So the J's are here. You say, John, you'll get at least one answer. So that's the good news. But we would like to take this chance to introduce you to, for those of you who don't know, to Hercules AI, the company. And we'll be doing that and talking about some of the value that we deliver. We have a pretty exciting agenda and a fair bit to cover. So to reinforce Sarah's comments, I want to encourage everyone who has a question to feel free to drop it into the Q&A box. If it's pertinent to the exact conversation, we'll answer it on the spot. If not, we'll pick it up at the end. But if you're shy, or perhaps you're watching this on a recording or something like that, we'll have our contact details as well. So again, don't hesitate to reach out. We love answering questions and helping people understand our combined value proposition. But for right now, let's just go into an overview of the company. So a quick overview of Hercules. Hercules AI is a technology company. In a nutshell, we deliver AI workers to law firms, insurance companies, and financial services companies. So the question is, what is an AI worker? And I know AI is a big term. It's got a lot of buzz around it. But we're developing solutions that deliver, we think, very high value work, allowing you to enhance the abilities of your current team and hopefully be able to scale without hiring more people. As Bill had just commented, the whole idea of scaling through more hiring is not the best ROI that you can have. And we think you can use some of the more modern tools to help out with that. We think our success formula is pretty simple. Your employees plus AI really will deliver your best performers. And we want to try and deliver something that's right out of the box. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But essentially, that's where we're trying to deliver value, enhancing what you've already got with some modern technology to deliver folks who will perform even better than they have been performing in the past. And I know some of the folks who are in these firms perform very, very well, but we can sort of say sky's going to be the limit when we put all these solutions together. So since 2019, we've been delivering AI solutions to some of the largest organizations in the world. You see a few logos here. We work with folks in the G100, the MLO 100, the F500 types of organizations. And effectively, we have four primary reasons why these organizations choose to work with us. First of all, we deliver, we think, a superior AI quality solution that's in production, that's really fine-tuned for a professional services firm. And they're in production. And they're not, there are some folks who are delivering either just a box of tools and telling you to go build something, or they're delivering something where maybe it's a Chat GPT wrapper or some other main large commercial model wrapped in a way that's going to add some value. Or these are just concepts or they're tools or they're prototypes. We want to deliver solutions, and we do, and we'll talk a little bit about what those are. But we want to deliver this also with enterprise-grade security, which I know is one of the major concerns and focuses of all these firms is when we're talking about time collection and billing and things that go out to clients. This is the crown jewels of your firm. This is the most important data you have. It has to be secure. And so we offer solutions that are deployed inside your organization's security perimeter, meaning the data does not leave your site, does not leave your purview. So we're going to put these products inside your security perimeter and really enhance your overall security protocols with, again, some of the most valuable information that your firm has. We also want to have very fast time to deliver value. Many large, for those folks who have done financial management replacement projects or similar types of projects, these can often be measured in months and years in terms of how long it takes to do these things. We like to frame our projects in terms of days and weeks. So the point here is that we want to deliver the value of these solutions to your firms very, very quickly, and we think we do a very good job at that. And then of course things that are easy and quick to deploy. Part of what we're offering is technology, which is one value proposition. The other, of course, is how we adopt to your organization and make sure that there's any change management issues can be handled. And I think we have AI solutions that are easy and quick to deploy, both for the technology side and for the human side. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So I'm going to pass it over to the other John, who's going to review some of these solutions in more detail and talk to you in a bit.
You're going to
You're
have
on
to
mute,
off
John.
and mute, John, though.
It was going to be one of us, so at least it was John.
I had to come off of mute in order to say that John needed to come off of mute.
Sorry about that, guys. All right. So anyways, as I was saying on mute, thanks, Bill, for kind of focusing at the beginning of the cash flow relay where this conversation starts with time collection. So we're going to start there at the beginning of the billing cycle. Apollo is the piece we're talking about here, and it's a next-gen AI-powered passive time capture solution, which is going to be seamlessly integrated into your core systems and workflows, very platform agnostic in that regard, and also very configurable to both timekeeper preference and firm policies, which has really helped us gain wide adoption with this product, which is in a category which has historically struggled to gain adoption. And a big part of that is it's best-in-class accurate capture with detailed narratives and client matter assignment. So timekeepers really value this tool as an assistant, which can passively capture all of their activities and billable work, but still keep them in the driver's seat and give them all the configurability that they need so that it meets their workflow where they are, as opposed to forcing a workflow where you have change management issues. And the impact is significant in deploying this at your firm. From clients we've worked with, we're seeing about an average of 120 hours of extra billable time per timekeeper annually. That's not just captured time; that's actually time that is billed. And sort of downstream results of this for clients seeing a 1% improvement in realization due to essentially more detailed and compliant narratives at the point of time entry. And when we talk about time velocity, there's a little bit of nuance here because some firms have very disciplined timekeeping habits, daily timekeeping habits. But for firms that struggle in this area where they just need help getting time in, we have an immense impact here, and we've seen about 40% improvement in timekeeping velocity for firms that have room for growth in this area. Now we're going to start to pivot towards the billing compliance side of things, and we'll talk now about Verify, which is the solution for billing compliance. So not just billing compliance, we're talking about OCG management, pre-bill review, cash flow challenges. We can solve all of that with Verify and nuanced and configurable ways. And our approach is to have an assembly of specialized AI models that all work together. They're deployed in your security perimeter, and they work in tandem, right? Like a team of specialists to automatically extract and enforce client guidelines, both internal guidelines as well as client guidelines. And we can detect compliance violations proactively, both at the time entry stage on submitted time entries or on pre-bill line items. And as we'll show you in the demo, Verify is highly configurable, just as is Apollo, sort of meet the specific needs of each organization. Law firms have many different practices and workflows that are in scope for this topic. And it's highly configurable to address all those strategies from implementation at multiple points in the billing cycle. So you can have multiple end user personas, whether it's people in billing, timekeepers, legal assistants, and you have an intuitive user interface and a backend rules library where you have sort of a library of sorts where you can control all this in an administrative realm. All these extracted rules are then managed. You can edit them, optimize them for performance, manually create rules, map them at the appropriate level, client, matter, payer, or even individual partners, et cetera. I'll pass it over to John to talk a little bit about the kind of size and scope of this problem in the market.
Thanks, John. Getting back to the scope of the problem, I think most folks on this session today are aware of Harbor Global, one of the industry's leading experts and leading service firms and they provide expert services for law firms, corporations, and inside law departments. In their work, Harbor has access to a huge amount of operating data, and they sponsor a number of surveys throughout the year. And they use that to glean strategic information from what's happening in the markets. So what we're referring to here is that in 2024, Harbor's billing and revenue cycle survey presented some pretty interesting results that speak directly to the challenges your firms are facing as they hope to accomplish some primary objectives, right? You want to work more, you want to collect more, you want to bill more, you want to bill more efficiently and effectively with greater speed and agility. And at the end of the day, you want to delight your clients and deliver bills that demonstrate value. So I don't know about the folks on the call here today, but typically when a vendor hands me a bill that's simple to receive, it shows that I've been billed accurately for the proper amount and that there's outstanding value in what I'm being billed for, I tend to pay that promptly. If it is the inverse of that, all sorts of problems can occur. And that's really what we're seeing in the market and what the solutions we're talking about today are trying to address. But what that survey shows is that most firms are continuing to struggle to collect all the work value that they've performed. They don't collect time contemporaneously. They take a very long time to gather that time, then to review it, ensure that it is compliant, make some style and or cosmetic edits, and then get the bill to the door's edge. So the survey also found that once the bill has been released out the door, collection cycles are fraught with uncertainty and sort of a lack of clarity. And assuming that the bill does not get trapped in some sort of rejection or defense cycle, it takes a really long time to collect. So in 2024, the survey says there were some gains in days to bill, which is the improvement within the firm's controllable operations. but the results have worsened on the outside in the days to collect. So these are the specific issues and the main focus of this combined Hercules and NQ ZebraWorks workflow. So let's talk a little bit more about that. And I'm going to pass it back to Shamal, I think, at this point. Or no, I'm sorry, it's going to go to John.
Yeah, one more bit to get through before we talk about demo stuff. So we're looking at the sort of whole billing cycle here, where we're talking about pieces that both us and NQ ZebraWorks can improve these processes. So Hercules AI, we're primarily addressing challenges in the first two phases of this workflow or flow diagram here. So we're helping firms avoid appeals and bill defense efforts, which are at the back end of that. Kind of both of us are helping avoid that process, which will lengthen WIP to cash cycles significantly. But if we're just focusing on those first two pieces where Hercules AI has the biggest impact, Apollo is what helps timekeepers capture more top-line revenue with a modern timekeeping solution that's widely adopted and facilitates more accurate and compliant timekeeping at the source. And then moving into the time to bill, Verify will then ensure that any compliance violations are flagged and fixed proactively by the appropriate resource, whether that's billing, compliance teams, timekeepers, legal assistants. And then at multiple points in the billing cycle, you can do this to ensure that pre-bills are as clean as possible before they reach the desk of a partner. And of course, we're looking to save partner time, so the most valuable resources at the firm. And fixing compliance violations, which are low-hanging fruit in advance, is a great way to do that, and very easy for a solution like Verify to catch that. Partners can still then be the final check for any errors, edits to the pre-bill line items, and service to properly communicating value to clients with an intuitive user interface that has found success as well with adoption from like a pre-bill review standpoint, even at firms who've struggled to adopt paperless pre-bill solutions in the past. And then in production, some client data on this, as far as results, we're seeing potential to reduce write-offs by up to 50% proactively within the first year, delivering 2 times faster pre-bill review and shorter WIP to cash cycles by reducing time to bill, avoiding resource-intensive bill defense efforts, which are marginally successful, typically on average, at recovering revenue. And then, of course, by getting more compliant bills out faster, the firm can maximize realization rates, quickly free up working capital, and strategically distribute workloads to reduce burden on partners reviewing pre-bills. And just to give you an example of a firm who found early success with Verify is Foley Mansfield, a leading insurance defense firm. We enabled Foley to gain a 600% ROI on their investment in Verify. And their partners have enthusiastically embraced this, actually, with 100% of their partners using Verify for pre-bill review at the firm. And then with that, I'll go ahead and give it to Shamal, who can show you what this looks and feels like.
Thanks, John. Hi, everybody. So as Sarah introduced me, I'm the VP of Customer Success here at Hercules. And that means I get to spend a lot of time with end users doing training, onboarding, making sure they use our tools. And just before I share my screen and show you what I'm going to show you, I think one of the things that's really impressive as we do these deployments is how easy it is for people to grab on and start using these solutions like Apollo and Verify. And with Apollo specifically, we've got the screen should be coming up any second now. We've got a couple of things that we see when we do deployments. Most people are trying to capture the time that they spend working. At best, they're doing it contemporaneously. They've got timers, they're creating entries. On the other side, you've got your reconstructors. They're writing post-it notes, margins of documents, and then going in and trying to put in a timekeeping system later on. Apollo is something that's going to help them regardless of their use case. It runs in the background as they're working on documents, as they're reviewing their emails. Essentially, every time that they have something open that they're reviewing, Apollo's capturing that time. It's capturing how much time they spend. It's creating a narrative for them, lets them enter any other activity codes, task codes that they need to have. So they have this record that's constantly being captured, something that they can go in, they can look at. Where the AI aspect comes in on top of all of this is it starts to calculate and predict the client matter that the work should be billed to. So even that is work that's already being done for the user, and all they have to do is verify, review that this is good, and they can send it to their timekeeping system. They still are in the driver's seat, and this is one of the things that we always emphasize to users. They're still very much in control. They can decide which elements they want to send, which entries are actually going to be billed. They can adjust and change their times if they say, no, that's not how much time I want to build for this. They can adjust the narratives in any way that they want to. And for things where the AI does not have a client matter assignment, they're also able to go in and say, all right, now I'm going to assign this, see the suggestions and assign. And every time they're doing this and assigning unassigned items, the AI is learning and getting better. So by automating a lot of that work, it's capturing a lot more time that people tend to forget. These are a lot of, point ones, point twos, quick emails that people work on and say, yeah, I'll make a note of it later on, but forget to. This makes sure that we don't have that escape and we don't lose that that amount of time. It is very customizable as well. So everyone can have their own preferences of how things are set, what type of billing they use, what their time thresholds are, and so on. Everyone has their own way of capturing time, and Apollo is designed to respect that. And Apollo is designed to really fit each unique user and what they want to do with it as well. Now, on the other side of the billing process, I'm going to pull up Verify here and show you what that looks like. So once all the time entries have gone through, let me just make sure that can everyone still see my screen because I switched over screens here? Yeah, great. Now that all these bills have gone through, now we've got Verify. And now Verify is this AI-powered billing compliance solution. It integrates again directly with the finance system and is essentially an assembly of large language models. These large language models are deployed within your firm's perimeter, whether it's on-premise, whether it's a private cloud. And the beauty of it is it can be used at various points in the billing process. So for example, this can be where someone can go in and review their submitted time entries, or they can go in and review pre-bills before they're ready to be sent to clients. And then depending on which point of the process you're using Verify, there's different personas that can do it, right? So if I'm a billing partner, I might go in here and review pre-bills. If I'm an associate, I can go in here and review my time entries and make sure that things are compliant, that the narratives are going to be easy to go through and get built for. Then the other thing that you can do, this, as you see, is Verify. Everything is organized by client or by matter. I can choose which level I want to go in and which level I want to review my entries. Let's just go in here at the client level. What you're seeing is that the AI has looked at all these line items and has identified these items in red as having issues. And we'll talk about the rules, we'll talk about how it knows that issues are there. But for now, if you put on the hat of let's say a billing attorney, I'm going in here and saying, okay, there's an issue here. I can simply click on it. It's going to tell me what the issue is. In this case, this looks like admin clerical work. It's saying I should give some justification for billing status. And I can even go in there and say, wait a second, why? So the AI does not force you to take it at its word. You do get to understand. You can see the rules that are being applied and the reasoning behind it. You can even click further in and look at the actual document that the rules are coming from and the description and the language. So nobody feels like, hey, this is something that's happening in the dark. I don't know what it is. You can really drill and find out what the information is. You can edit the entry. So I can make the changes it's asked me to make and apply them. And now the change has been applied. So that's one example. And I can go through this with everything that's found. Here's something that the AI found is block billing because it's finding 3 different entries put together as one. And I can say, let's have a look at it. And it proposes, hey, I'm going to split this into 3 entries, split the time. I could make any other changes if I want to make, but then I can go ahead and save the changes. And now it's created these 3 other entries, splitting the time properly as it should be split. And so on. I've got another block billing I can go through. And you can see how for someone who's reviewing these pre-bills, especially they're used to doing it manually. We've seen people, reviewing PDFs and marking them up. This is just a much, much easier way. You get the assistance of the AI. You can see the rules, see the reasoning, and you can apply them. In cases where there are things to be added, here's a vague narrative. I don't really know what this was about. The AI is also making a suggestion of something needs to be added, and it's giving this orange box that says, I think you should add something here. I can simply click on it and I can say, okay, I'm going to add a purpose and say what it's going to be about. Now, this is that persona of a billing partner, right? I'm going through, verifying my entries. It's very easy to do. I can see the rules behind it. I build trust in the AI by looking at the rules being applied. The other side of what we're doing here is managing the rules, the under the hood part, if you will. And this is where it gets pretty cool, because there's a rule library where you can manage the rules that the AI will enforce and select which rules to enforce. Rules allow you to manage at a very granular level as well. So you can have rules by payer, by client, by matter, apply it firm-wide, or apply it for a specific attorney or billing timekeeper. And so there's a couple of things that you can do here. And in addition, there are multiple sources of rules. So you have a lot of flexibility in the rules that you have. There's a lot of things that are coming into it to be able to use these rules and verify. And we can talk about a couple of them. Common practice rules essentially are rules that the AI model has been trained on out of the box. This is immense amount of data that we use from historical deductions from e-billing solutions, and we've put that into the common practice rules. So right out of the gate, there's these common practice rules being applied. In addition, your OCG. Verify can actually read the OCGs and extract rules from the OCGs and apply them. So that's whichever OCGs you want to use, you can apply them, and then they'll get applied specifically to whichever payers or clients you want to apply them to. If you've got internal guidelines, any internal documents or style guides or wording choices, those documents can be used as well for the rules engine to apply. And you have the ability to create custom rules. And custom rules are anything else that you want. You can either create a custom rule to clarify a point, or create a custom rule for someone that wants something specific, certain wording that wants to be used, for example. And these rules are, again, they're not, it's not a black box that sits behind. These are rules that you can go and you can look at. You can see when it's extracting from a document where it is. You can classify rules by type, and you can add descriptions and clarifications and things like that. And all of this is using natural language. So it's easy to understand, easy to see, and easy to know what you're doing with. And even if you want to create a rule, creating a rule is as easy as, again, natural language modeling. So I can say, what's the type of rule I want to have? And it's something simple like saying, every time I see RE in a narrative, change it to regarding. And that's as simple as the text I need to type. So it comes through very simply, and it's very easy to model through. So creating these rules is the power behind Verify. Enforcing the rules is the power behind all the compliance that you can do with the narratives. And that's where Verify really shines. It's easy to deploy, easy to set this up, and easy to roll out. So that's everything from my side. John, I will turn it back to you.
Back to unmuting, John. John, you need to unmute.
Apologies.
There we go.
Handing it back to Bill. Yeah, if you want to get in touch with us to speak about this further, happy to do so. But we're going to talk about now how NQZ works can affect later in the billing process.
The good news is I've already unmuted. Let me bring my screen back. So let's go back to the cash flow relay. I'm going to dive into the last stage. We've gotten through the improving time, getting through pre-bills. You process the bills. Now you want to get paid. So let's talk about the components that make up invoices to cash. So the first step is bill delivery. And in most firms, there's a lot of pain around bill delivery. It's literally people sitting there, whether it's billing clerks or assistants for billing attorneys, going into Outlook and hitting new email and keeping track of all the exceptions of how do we get those bills properly delivered to clients. We're in a client-driven environment. And so firms are doing what their clients want, and that's what makes this an exception-based process. And then we take the work around that and apply it to AR notices, which has a similar set of problems. And attorneys tend to be very particular about how that follow-up work is done. And so it is the same problem again that creates a lot of manual work around doing that follow-up with AR notices. Our approach is to add workflow automation around that, capture all those exceptions, do it, set it up once, and then have it happen month in and month out the right way every single time. Then we want to build on that with central tracking of all of the collections activity so that we know exactly what's going on. And the last step is the client portal, where if we make it easy for clients to pay, they will pay more often. And we do that by turning it into a more collaborative process where the information is available to them. And the end result is getting paid faster. Ken, can you dive in, please, with some specifics?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me try to share here real quick. And let's do that. All right. You see that okay, Bill?
You are coming through.
Okay. So this is billing queue. This is what we're looking at, what Bill was just talking about. This is a synchronized copy of all of your billing data from your billing system near real time. So when we sync this is a born in the cloud application hosted in Azure. We sync the data and then we organize it in 3 different categories. So we've got matters, billing contacts, and then a section called activities. So all this data comes across. You have the ability to organize it how you would like within those different buckets. These different folders are completely customizable or tailorable by the firm, so you can choose to view this data in the way that it makes most sense for you. And we'll just kind of follow along with Bill's illustration there. So what data queue or what billing queue allows you to do is apply workflows to each of those invoices to cash stages. So you can apply workflows to bill delivery, apply those same workflows or different ones to the collections process or AR notices, and then ultimately apply workflows to the payments process or the client portal as well. So if we're finalizing bills and upon finalizing bills, we have 2 options. We can automatically distribute those bills based on the rules and things that you've assigned. That doesn't always work for every firm or every practice area, or even all the way down to a particular attorney or a lawyer. So we've built within here something called an email queue. So once the bills are finalized on the firm's billing system, they can queue up in an email queue that can either go to the biller, or it could go to the biller and a combination of other people who are referred to as delegates. So this is going to queue up every bill that we're getting ready to send out on their behalf. AR notices actually work the exact same way. And if I wanted to come in and actually see what's going out, I can come through and pull that up. So I can just simply highlight. It's going to show me the client matter that's associated, obviously. Down below, we'll already have a rule of who it's coming from, who it's going to, right? And then a customizable email template that can be customized all the way, again, down to the attorney level. So you can have a set of standards, and then you can come in and make changes here if you would like. These are not static fields, they're dynamic fields that are pulling from the billing system. So you get to create those templates, and billing queue will go and grab the appropriate set of data upon generating that email to be sent out. They are sent out directly from 365. So if billers or attorneys prefer that to come from them, it can come directly from their outbox in Outlook, or if it comes from a central mailbox, or either way, we can accommodate. Really, billing queue is in the business of exceptions. And so that's why we've tailored all of these different processes to be able to handle most any exception that we found so far within a firm. If they want to look at the actual invoice that's being sent out, they can pull that up as well, and then ultimately choose to send or deny this. If they choose to deny it, we have a notification system that allows billing to understand or see that it's denied. If they choose to approve it, we're going to track that as well, just in case there's ever any questions in the future as to who approved this and why did it get sent out. So we're going to keep track of both of those things really the goal here is to add or bring visibility to the entire process. So those in the billing group, if you send final bills for the billers to send out, sometimes you lose visibility of that. Did it actually go out? Who sent it out? Different things of that nature. This brings visibility to that entire process. Again, the same functions work for AR notices. Of course, there's just a little bit different workflow applied to those because we want certain balance thresholds and just different based on practice here, however we want to set that up for when those go out and are distributed. Before moving on from activities, we also this is also where all of our collection activities happen. So as Bill mentioned, those follow-up activities, so I can come through as an individual and see, my open tasks or past due tasks or anything of that nature, and then also see my email queue in addition. And then now we'll just scroll up here and look at matters. So as mentioned, these are tailorable searches for what makes most sense for you to be looking at. If I'm looking at this matter and I want to see something in more detail, I can quickly come in, highlight the matter, see AR and WIP aging buckets, as well as the billing contacts and basic inquiry information, and even scroll down and see individual invoices and payments. But you also have a complete activity monitoring as well. So emails that have been sent from billing queue are automatically tracked within here, the threading of those for replies and things of that nature. Emails that are saved back from Outlook into here, you have the ability to sort. And then end users can come through and see things that have been assigned to them, or just click on the different filters if they only want to see bills or payments or write-offs. So very quickly get to the information that's most important to them at that time. Now, from a collections activity or standpoint, oftentimes we're on the phone with a client and they might not have a copy of the bill that we're calling to ask them about that's over 90. So you can do that on the fly as well. So in addition to using automation and workflow, you don't have to only rely on that. So I could come through here and say, I'm going to send them a client AR notice, at which point it will go and find the appropriate template for that matter or for that client, bring over all the relevant information, again, allowing me to make any changes that I would like and shoot that notice out. That will automatically be tracked within the activity section, right? So if I wanted to go see what was accomplished right there, is when I sent that send AR notice, it's going to go wherever your billing system stores those images. It's going to combine all of those into one searchable PDF with a cover page and then a table of contents, allowing them to quickly navigate to anything that they might have questions on or need to see in more detail. If we want to see what that looks like, I could come through and just that quickly it assembled all of those. I can kind of scroll down and just highlight or jump to the detail that makes most sense of something that I want to see. The last kind of piece of that process that we apply workflow to is if we are on the phone with this client and they say, that's great, I've got it in my inbox now, I see it, I don't have any more questions, I'd love to make a payment, then directly on that link, they can just click make payment. I could follow along with them, or for purposes of today, just show you kind of what that client portal looks like. So within here, this is what they receive. So instead of going in and clicking on my link and telling the link who I am and putting in my billing information and putting in some amount that I want to pay, we can actually bring that all directly within here. So I could come through and say, I'm not ready to pay the entire amount, but I'll go make a payment of $45,000. It's going to automatically apply to the oldest invoices first. They can override that and just choose which ones they want to pay if they wanted to add one to that. And then we'll remember their preferred payment method so that they don't have to re-enter that each time, which in tons of preferences as far as which payment methods we actually allow, but ultimately allows them to have full control over that process, put history here, make retainer and trust payments here as well, and then provide a line-by-line reconciliation for when we're bringing that back into the billing system. So we're not wondering where this amount came from, what it meant to be applied to, the matter ID associated or anything of that nature, because all that detail is brought back to the firm. So that's kind of scratching the surface of billing queue a bit. Love to show more detail if there's interest there, and we'll provide our contact information at the end so that we can do that. And I will turn this back over to you, Bill.
Excellent. Thank you. Let me bring this back up. So the way that we think about this is to evaluate where are we at in the maturity model of the overall collections process. And you can kind of place yourself on this. Our goal, so we often work with firms coming in that are somewhere in the first three levels. Our goal is always to provide the tool set and the process so that we're at level 4 and you have the ability to get to level 5 if you make the effort. The key there is that we're creating the time to become strategic. That's really the challenge with this issue because there's just way too much to do in every law firm accounting department that I have ever worked with. And our goal is to go find the low-hanging fruit. It's just part of how we think about the implementation, which is how can we save enough time right out of the gate that we're creating more time that we can then get into a more detailed problem, solve that, create more time. And so we put a lot of effort into what that implementation process is like. And you've heard that from both companies because we've all been working on finance systems and law firms for a long time. And one of the most painful things about implementing improvements in finance is that they tend to be really long, drawn out projects. And we've both put a tremendous amount of effort into making the implementations much more reasonable and projects that give you immediate return on your investment and time so that you have time to go deeper with each of these solutions. And so our goal is to get you to level 4 and make it possible so you have the tool set and the abilities and the time to be strategic to get to level 5. And so what are the benefits of doing this? So one is obviously the time savings. And so if, for example, you have attorneys involved in the bill delivery and the collections process, there is a lot of time that's taken up in that process, both for attorneys, their assistants, and the accounting team to support them. If you're more fortunate and it's more centralized, it's still a huge amount of time that's taking place within the accounting department. And we have a dramatic impact on that in terms of applying workflows. And what we typically see is 5, 6, 7 days pulled out of the monthly billing cycle, month in and month out. And so that's not only a time savings, that's a benefit for getting the bills out faster. And putting process around this improves the client experience. It's actually better for clients for us to have professional communication that drives this as opposed to it being a surprise. The end result of that is a reduction in days outstanding and an increase in realization rate. And so if you take that and apply it, you can scale this based on the size of your firm. But if you think about every $10 million in annual billing, and if we reduce your AR turnover from 3.5 months to 3 months, that's pulling forward over $400,000 in free cash flow. And if we increase the collective realization rate by sort of the midpoint of what we see, that's another $150,000. So you can scale that based on where your billing is at in the firm. And it's just a very direct connection between the time savings, the process improvement, and the ROI that results from that. We have a number of case studies of clients that are using our invoices to cash solution. I love working with our firms on these challenges. I like to think that we're particularly brilliant about coming up with these solutions, but what we're really good at is listening to our clients and incorporating those enhancements. And so we're just constantly making our system better based on your feedback. We have a company that is run by veterans in finance, in legal tech. We've been doing this for a long time. We've lived with the problems that you're dealing with. Our clients are just an amazing set of firms that we get to work with. And this particular thing that we're talking about with invoices to cash with billing queue is something that we introduced in 22, and we have a number of firms that are live doing this now. I said that way too fast, but I love talking about this stuff. This whole thing that we do, what we're doing together, it is. Some people find it strange, but I really love going after these problems. This is a lot of fun going in and solving these issues. It's why we're here to do this. That is the end of the prepared remarks. I appreciate everybody sticking with us through this. We have any wrap-up commentary or questions that we want to tackle?
I do see some questions in the chat that Sarah is answering on the side here. So if you want to leverage that chat, or otherwise, looks like we got another one here. Does Billing Queue interact with eBilling Hub or Bill Blast to show invoice status?
That's a great question. It is about to. That is one of the things that is on our roadmap and coming shortly. As you can imagine, that's been a common request from our clients, and it's particularly valuable for. I mean, you want to see the overall picture of your AR, including the e-billing status, but it's particularly valuable for e-bills where you're submitting them, but then it's really the normal collections process that kicks in after that. And so many of our firms use us for collections for that portion of e-bills, and we're in the process of adding the statuses so it's easier to keep track of all of it. We are going to make the recording available, so we will send that out when we are done. So in terms of there's been a couple of questions about integrations on the InQ ZebraWorks side. For larger firms, we integrate with 3E, 3E in the cloud, Aderant Sierra. We also support many mid-sized firms, and we currently have integrations with Prolaw and Coyote, and we are about to launch Clio and are always adding new ones. So if you are running something that isn't on our list, then please tell us that you would like that to happen, because that's how we figure out what is next on the list.
And Bill, my apologies if you've already answered this, but there is a question that came through. It says, how does it interact with the pay by credit card? Do you have a preferred vendor?
Yeah, so when you're using us for payments in order to create the client portal experience that Ken was showing, we become the merchant account for the firm. So you can keep using your existing payment provider, and we just change the emails to include their links. But to provide the best experience where we're really making it a collaborative process and showing the detail of the invoices and making it possible for people to click through and pull up the invoices. We have a capability where you can show history on the client portal if you want, if you have a desire for clients to be able to see that without needing to call you to access that. So in that case, we become the merchant account. It's JP Morgan Chase that's actually the bank that's behind that. And there's some benefits to the approach that we're doing, because we're really focused on the software, and we ended up doing payments because it was how to provide the best experience for firm clients. And so, for example, we don't charge a percentage or high rates on eChecks or ACH. We treat both of them equally. We give you control over which clients can pay via credit card versus ACH. So there tends to be cost savings there, and deposits are in one day. It's one payment flow, and so we really focused on making that as simple and beneficial to the accounting department as possible. If you're running Adderant or ProLaw, we are able to take those payments and put them back into the system automatically because we've got the line-by-line allocation. We'll have that for 3E shortly. And that just, it's so wonderful to never send another one of those emails of, we got $10,000 in and we don't know exactly where this goes. And those, those kinds of problems just go away.
Another one just came through too. Sorry to cut you off there, Bill, but it says you mentioned Coyote, but does this integrate with SharePoint's LMS?
Not yet, but that is next on the list.
Okay, and I think there's a follow-up question to the original question, which is which payment platform is used and what are the credit card fee charges?
Yeah, so it's our own payment platform. We have a flat rate credit card fees. We're really focused on making that an area where you can. Our philosophy is let's try to save you money on the payment side and offset some of the cost of the software. So our standard pricing for that is 2.95% for all credit card types, including American Express.
Okay, and then one more just came in, and that is, does this model work with flat fee billing?
It does. We have a lot of clients who do flat fee billing. I wish flat fee billing were a much more common thing. Well, this has been a lot of fun doing this with the Hercules team. I love the ability to cover the whole process from time entry to payment.